Centaur, your kind of company.
Tonight on Ctv3 News, Belize declared under hurricane watch as Tropical Storm Lisa forms in the Caribbean. Bureau of Standards warns against price gouging as Tropical Storm Lisa approaches the country. Belize City resident charged for resisting arrest after he is detained for attacking a female at the center of Orange Walk town. And the football match nearly turns deadly in San Jose Orange Walk. These are some of the stories we have for you tonight in our newscast for Monday, October 31st, 2022.
Ever since I was a kid, I've dreamt of going to Mars. You can keep my dream alive.
Come with me. You cannot, under any circumstances, leave my room, okay? Only for 35 days.
Enjoy your favorite HBO original series and movies with Centaur, your kind of company.
I met Alex on the plane. When I woke up in the morning, he was so alive.
I think they know you're lying.
Enjoy your favorite HBO original series and movies with Centaur, your kind of company.
Get her off that stage.
Enjoy your favorite HBO original series and movies with Centaur, your kind of company.
Do you want quick cash for your gold? Then take advantage of Monica's Pawn Shop's big loans on gold and our guaranteed low rate of only 10% on all pawn jewelry. But it doesn't stop there. We also pawn TVs, buy scrap gold, and pawn vehicles that you can still drive. Visit Monica's Pawn Shop today in our Belize City location at number 128 Cemetery Road, our Belmopan location at number 5 Garden Plaza, our Orange Walk location, number 2 Belize Carazal Road. Give us a call at 207-0970 and get more money for your gold jewelry.
Everyone, including our elderly, needs to stay connected with their loved ones. With Smart's Golden Citizen broadband program, senior citizens can sign up for 10 megabytes of unlimited internet at a low monthly cost of $25. Citizens over 65 can sign up with a valid ID and receive free installation plus 1 month free on selected broadband plans. Visit a Smart showroom near you for more information on how you can enjoy Smart's Golden Citizen broadband program. Smart, bringing people together.
Good evening. With your news, also simulcast on Fiesta FM 106.7, I am Joanna Rodriguez. As of midday, Prime Minister and the Chairman of the National Emergency Management Organization, NEMO, John Briceño, has declared that Belize is under hurricane watch along its entire coastline. Following the Prime Minister's declaration of a hurricane watch for the entire coast of Belize, the Red One flag was hoisted above the NEMO headquarters in Belmopan. Tropical Storm Lisa is presently on a track towards Belize and is expected to make landfall as a hurricane within 36 to 48 hours. As of 6 p.m., Lisa was located about 630 miles east-southeast of Belize City, moving west at 14 miles per hour with maximum sustained winds of 40 miles per hour. The storm is expected to continue on a similar track for the next few days, passing Jamaica by later today, north of the northern coast of Honduras by Tuesday, and approaching the Belizean coast by late Wednesday, with landfall expected late Wednesday or early Thursday morning as a Category 1 hurricane.
The system is currently disorganized. It is being affected by wind shear, vertical wind shear, causing most of the thunderstorm activity to be to the east of the center. Actually, the center is rather exposed, indicating that the system is weak. And also, there's a good amount of dry mid-level air in the environment, especially to the west of the system. And that's precisely the reason why we are having fair weather. However, indications are that the environment will become a bit more moist and that the wind shear will slacken or weaken and allow the system to intensify gradually. The impacts that we're expecting is that the system will produce, first of all, rainfall in the amounts of 2 to 4 inches per day, starting on Wednesday through to Wednesday night and Thursday. We are looking at possibility of late tomorrow evening, 24 hours before landfall, where you can more precisely pinpoint the location of landfall. Now, I do want to stress again, it's important that we do not focus on the exact location of landfall because these systems have impact beyond where the center makes landfall. So even though we will be able to pinpoint a location, we are going to advise residents not to focus only on that particular location because there are impacts beyond that point.
With heavy rainfall starting on Wednesday and continuing into Thursday, flooding in low-lying and flood-prone areas is expected as the ground is already saturated.
In addition to the rainfall and the flooding due to rainfall, there's likely to be coastal flooding due to storm surge with about 3 to 5 feet possible, especially to the north, well, to the north of the center actually, of where the system makes landfall. And that could result in, like I said, an increase in the level of flooding for coastal residents. And in terms of a Category 1 hurricane, those are systems with winds of 74 to 95 miles per hour. So we're expecting those winds to affect areas just around the center where the system makes landfall. We do not and will not specify a specific location of landfall at the moment. There's some uncertainty. So we want residents across the entire country of Belize to be prepared for the system and for the possibility of a landfalling hurricane. The forecast cone, as we always say, gives us a probability that the system could make landfall anywhere within that cone. And important for residents to note is that as the system gets nearer to Belize, you will see the cone narrowing. That indicates that we are more clear of where it will make landfall. However, because the cone narrow, there will be locations within the country that will not be covered by the cone. And the misconception that some people will get from that is that those areas will not be affected. It is important to note, and we saw that with the situation in Florida, that there will be impacts outside of that cone. And hence the reason again why we want the residents across this entire country to be on the alert.
According to Chief Meteorologist at the National Meteorological Service of Belize, Ronald Gordon, Lisa is not expected to intensify beyond a Category 1 hurricane.
Even though we have made a lot of progress in predicting the path or the track of these systems, when it comes to intensification, and especially rapid intensification, there is still some work to do there. We are going by all the knowledge that we have, all the factors that we are looking at, and everything that we are seeing is not indicating that the system will intensify beyond a Category 1. Even though the wind shear will slacken, it will still be a bit more moderate wind shear, especially to the north. The environment, like I said, is relatively dry. So, and the storm is moving relatively fast as well. It's not those systems that slow down and intensify. So those factors in general would not favor rapid intensification One factor that will support intensification is the warm waters. We're looking at about 84 to 85 degrees Fahrenheit in our area. So the combination of those factors and looking at the model and all those things, it is not showing rapid intensification at the moment.
A Category 1 hurricane has sustained winds between 74 to 95 miles per hour, according to the National Weather Service, NWS. These are very dangerous winds that can cause some damage to roofs, shingles, vinyl sidings, and gutters on well-built homes. Those are some of the impacts that we could experience here in Belize.
Going back into the archives, I saw 3 systems making landfall on Belize in November. One of them was Lara in 1971. I think that was a tropical storm. And there was a system in 1931 before we had name for hurricanes that made landfall also in November. And there's another one way back in the 18 change that made landfall in November. But as you rightly alluded to, they are very rare.
The public is advised to put your family emergency plan into action and check your emergency food, water, and medical supplies. Check on the elderly and persons with disabilities. Make early preparations to leave high-risk areas. Voluntarily relocate to a safe location before the system makes landfall if you live in a low-lying area or vulnerable coastal community. Know which shelter you will go to. Secure your home and your important documents. Secure loose objects and flammable material. In the case of municipalities, clear drains to reduce flooding. Residents are advised to continue monitoring the system very closely and to follow official information coming from NEMO and the National Meteorological Service. All businesses should implement their disaster plans. NEMO must be prepared to open adequate shelters wherever necessary and to conduct search and rescue operations where lives are at risk. Tropical Storm Lisa has spun up in the Caribbean Sea south of Jamaica, on track to strike Belize late Wednesday as the 12th storm of this year's Atlantic hurricane season. But while Belizeans are just hearing about the storm, the National Emergency Management Organization, NEMO, has been monitoring the system since last Wednesday. To date, all committees are on watch, says National Coordinator of the National Emergency Management Organization, retired Colonel Shelton DeFore.
We notified all our national committees and district committees for them to convene an emergency meeting to go through their state of readiness. That was done except for CAIO, which is going through that process, that meeting as we speak. The next area of operational readiness was that of our logistics, where we checked the stocks in our warehouses to ensure that we had, the basic supplies to start off the operation and to be procured, which we're in the process of, gathering some additional supplies. Our search and rescue component was alerted. BSERT, Coast Guard, BDF, all those critical uniform services that will assist us in terms of getting ready for any potential rescue. The Human Resource Management Committee also requested some assistance to prepare. They're responsible for the public officers that will go into the shelters. The district coordinators provided a list of shelters that they are likely to open in the event that we have to open shelters for this tropical cyclone that is facing Belize.
Today, they advised the residents of the islands of Abergis Key and Key Cocker and low-lying areas of Belize City to begin making plans to move to shelters or other areas as soon as possible.
The window of opportunity to make certain decisions closes or narrows every hour. And so the islands of San Pedro and Kikaka, in their deliberation in terms of scenario planning, they have to look at what time they would tell residents, you need to evacuate and get off the island if they're in a vulnerable situation, because once the window of opportunity closes, sea state will not allow us to move people by sea once the conditions don't permit. So we then have to go to plan B for coastal communities like San Pedro, Kikaka, and some of the other keys, where they have to shelter in place. So San Pedro have also looked at their worst case scenario in terms of sheltering in place, because this is the second time that we see the system, and it has sped up a bit. It's now moving at 14 miles per hour, which means the time to evacuate will reduce. For the people in San Pedro, shelter is in Belmopan. The plan is to move them to UB and Gymnasium, because we have a shelter evacuation plan. And so that is where people from San Pedro and the Keys would come in from.
Apart from the Keys, residents living in communities considered as Albion Islands here in the north are also asked to relocate in a timely manner if necessary.
They have to pay keen attention and monitor the rainfall events and look at the rise of the river through the river monitors and the district emergency committee that we have in Orange Walk, that will be in close coordination with the village chairpersons to know exactly if and when they will need to move up to higher grounds or to move out from that particular area. Fortunately, in some sense, the Rio Hondo is a river that takes a while to flood, depending on the amount of rainfall in Mexico and in Belize, and as flooding over a period of time. It takes sometimes up to a week or a week and a half before it floods. And when it floods real bad, as we know with the Douglas experiences, and it stays up high for a long period of time. And so they just need to be very vigilant, listen. Once we have indicators, the hydrology department responsible for flood forecast and information, they'll be putting out their bulletin.
The National Hydrological Service, NHS, has warned that several river areas are expected to flood due to incoming tropical storm Lisa. According to the NHS, over the next few days, waters in the area designated as Region 7, which include the Rio Hondo at Blue Creek North and the downstream at Santa Cruz, San Antonio, San Roman, and Douglas to the coast, and on the New River at Tower Hill and Caledonia, are expected to remain above normal levels. However, these areas are expected to increase to flood stage once Tropical Storm Lisa arrives. Waters in Region 9, which includes the Macal River, Mopan River, and Belize River, as well as the Crooked Tree Lagoon waters, are expected to continue to recede for the next 2 days, also reaching flood stage with the passage of Tropical Storm Lisa. In Region 11, water levels at the Saboon River and the Southern Lagoon at Gales Point Village will continue to recede until the storm arrives. In watersheds on the eastern slopes of the Mayan Mountains and on the City River at Kendall Bridge, decreasing levels expected, the NHS said. On the Swayze and Bladen branches of the Monkey River, the Deep River at Medina Bank, and on the Rio Grande at San Pedro, Colombia, and at Big Falls South, below normal and decreasing levels expected. On the Moho River at Blue Creek South and Jordan, near normal and decreasing levels are expected. On the Tamash River at Creeksarco, below normal and steady levels are expected to continue in the meantime. Water levels in Region 13, which include Sarstoon River, will remain normal and steady until Tropical Storm Lisa makes landfall. As the country prepares for the storm, in a statement issued this morning, Prime Minister John Briceño advised Belizeans to pray, to be prepared as Tropical Storm Lisa approaches, and to remain vigilant. The PM states, and we quote, "Our region's hurricane season runs from June 1st to November 30th each year. While we pray and hope for the best that no storm will come to our shores, we remain prepared and vigilant. Today we find ourselves in that mode, preparedness and vigilance. Activate your family plans and ensure you have plans to secure yourselves and ready your properties and possessions for any eventuality, added the PM. In addition, PM Briceño is advising those near low-lying and flood-prone areas to evacuate on time. Our areas near our rivers and the streams are likely to experience rising waters and heavy rainfall. The recent rains and floods have given us a recent indicator for areas of concern. I urge you to take heed. Be prepared, be ready to move, and secure lives in any eventuality. To our farmers and the producers, please be vigilant and be ready to act. Move livestock early and attend your farms and produce appropriately, the Prime Minister stated. In preparation for the arrival of Lisa, which is expected to make landfall in Belize by Wednesday, November 2nd, as a Category 1 hurricane, the Ministry of Education, Culture, Science and Technology has issued a notice that classes for all schools will have an amended schedule for the coming week. While classes continued as per normal today, as of Tuesday, November 1st, classes will be suspended until further notice. Schools, especially schools that serve as hurricane shelters, are asked to ensure that hurricane plans are put into effect and all property and equipment are safely secured. The ministry also encourages our education community to heed all advisories from NEMO and to make every effort to secure their property and personal well-being, the ministry said. Residents of San Jose Village in the Orange Walk district were ready to enjoy a female marathon on Sunday when the peacefulness of the day was interrupted by a fight. As is with these events, vendors would come out and erect a tent to sell food and drinks. That is exactly what Aurora Escalante and her husband, Bassiano Escalante, have been doing for decades in the closely knitted community. However, yesterday evening turned into chaos when Bassiano Escalante and his 26-year-old son-in-law, Jonathan Franco, were viciously attacked by at least 4 men who witnesses claim appeared to be under the influence of alcohol. Our news team traveled to the village and spoke with one of the individuals who witnessed the assault firsthand.
Yo solo fui a comprar unos dip y vi de que empezó el problema. Vinieron unos muchachitos, uno empezó el problema, se fue encima del muchacho que estaba en el tent y luego vinieron unos 3 muchachos más y empezó todo el problema. Yo estaba allá, vi de todo, pero como realmente yo solo voy a decir lo que vi, hubo machetazos, vi de cómo pasó todo el accidente, pero la verdad, así como los muchachitos estaban tomando, también el otro muchacho pues estaba tomando. Vino un muchacho que tenía el machete, pero lo que pasa es que cuando el que agredieron vio que tenía machete, el otro jaló 2 botellas. En uno de esos agarró, tiró una botella para darle al muchacho, entonces de eso la botella se fue encima de su mamá, del muchacho que fue en su espalda, y el que tenía el machete pues se molestó. Dijo, no, pues esto no, y cuando vino el muchacho que tenía el machete, pues sin pensarlo 2 veces, agredió, creo que sus 2 pies, sus 2 pies, y todavía pues hubo unos planazos que le dio, y el muchacho que machetearon pues ya no pudo hacer nada y quedó tirado. Al único que lastimaron fue al papá, que viene siendo Bassiano Escalante, y al yerno. El que más fue accidentado fue el yerno porque le dieron pues 2 machetazos, uno en cada pie y una raspada por su costilla y todavía unos moretones que tiene en la espalda, me parece. Aparte de eso, pues al señor le dieron, creo que, eso sí no lo alcanzé a ver, no sé si lo botearon o fue un golpe que cayó desmayado el señor.
But what caused the attack? Cindy Novella says she is unaware as to why these men would assault her brother-in-law and her father, since they are not troublemakers. She also told us how she ended up between the welding machete man and her father, who had been knocked out.
Yo no entiendo por qué pelearon, no sé por qué esos muchachos fueron a pegar a mi papá. Pues cuando yo me quité porque fui a bañar a mis hijos para que los lleven a la fiesta de Halloween. Cuando ella me llamó, yo digo, ya pegaron a tu papá. Y les digo a mi otra hermanita, no le dije nada porque como ella andaba con los niños, pues no le dije nada. Pues arranqué a correr estaba un poquito más de mi casa. Antes y llegué hasta la plaza. ¿Cómo llegué? ¿Quién sabe cómo llegué? Porque ahorita creo que ni correr puedo. Pero llegué a la plaza. Cuando yo llegué a la plaza veo que mi papá está tirado en el suelo. Digo, ya le dieron. Ahora, cuando miré bien el hombre con su machete, pues me tiré encima de él, digo, pues que me maten a mí, no van a matar a él. Pero después el hombre agarró su machete y dio la vuelta y tumbó a mi cuñado y ya, él sí le daba. Si no por Laisha, y Laisha le jalaba su camisa y lo jalaba porque ya no podía machetear, sino que solo le daba con la espalda. Pero le daba y le daba con ganas, él matar lo quería matar. Es en, ¿cómo se llama? Joan Cosme y en Eduardo Cosme. Y hay un montón de ellos, era en, ¿cómo se llama el otro? Vive enfrente del parque. También lo patoteaban a mi pobre cuñado. Pero le daba y le daba, a mi otra hermanita lo jalaba de su camisa.
Novella says her brother-in-law could have been spared from being beaten if persons would have intervened instead of just being spectators.
Su mamá estaba jalando al muchacho también. Estaba jalando al muchacho para que se vaya el muchacho, pero ella solo le jala su camisa como jugando con él. Ella lo tenía agarrado y un señor también vino a ayudarla a ella a quitarle el machete. Y la mamá se mete a quitarlo para que lo lleven. Lo quitó y lo soltó. A lo que lo soltó la mamá le cortó el pie. Dije, ya le cortó el pie, ya lo mataron. Pero yo mi pensamiento, porque yo veo que le están dando, ¿vio? Digo, ya lo mataron. Pero después cuando fui a ver, le digo, Jonathan, pues no tenía. Me dice, no tengo nada. Dice, solo es mi pie, me dice.
¿Solo en el pie le cortaron?
Tiene su pie, en su espalda, creo que está marcoteado. Sí está marcoteado porque él le dio con el machete con ganas hasta matarlo. Él quería matarlo, porque ese es un asesino de verdad. El policía quiere que lo busquen y lo lleven, la verdad. Que paguen, porque ellos están acostumbrados a hacer eso. Porque él, su espalda está marcado. Su brazo creo que está marcado, pero como ella lo jalaba, solo planeado. Yo decía, no lo van a matar, porque yo estaba encima de él, porque a él le iban a dar.
¿A su papá?
Ajá, pero como yo me tiré encima de él, pues ya no le dieron a él. Y fueron con mi cuñado. A él sí lo tumbaron y lo mal patotearon. Ese uno, Eduardo Cosme. El que tenía el machete es en Joan Cosme. Y todavía no acabaron de darles a ellos. Nos quedamos, pensamos que iban a regresar, pero no se fueron. Y su mujer de él es mi familia, ¿sabe? Es mi prima. Y manda mensajes de sí. Pero yo como no estoy acostumbrada a andar de revoltosa en San José, miré el mensaje, ¿no lo vio? Ya se lo mostré. Que es de brujería y no sé qué cosas más. Y lo hice blog para que no entren los mensajes más. Que haya una loca y no dos.
One of the victims is Bassiano Escalante, who was only there to take down the tent his wife had been using as a food stall. He says by the time he regained consciousness, the men were already attacking his son-in-law.
Y pues vamos a quitar tent, yo y mi yerno voy a ayudar pues a quitar tent. Y eso fuimos a hacer allá ya estoy desatando la soguita ya que vamos a quitar tent porque vamos a venir a la fiesta de Halloween allá en el parque. Cuando empezó la bulla que no era con nosotros, era con unos muchachos allá. Yo fui a hablar con un muchacho porque le encargué una llanta para mi moto. Y después dice, no vayas allá porque ella cree que voy a estar. Le digo, no, solo voy a preguntar al muchacho cuánto vale la llanta. Me dio y me regresé. Estoy quitando cuando de repente oye que viene, atacaron. Son esos muchachos Cosmes. Porque primero estaban patoteando el carro de donde yo fui a conversar con el muchacho. Empezaron a patotear el carro allá y no sé si tienen problema con ellos, pero yo con ellos nunca he tenido problema. Ajá, pero ya ahí cuando empezó que botellas empezaron a provocar a uno, según mi esposa, porque yo de que me dieron ya, boom, caí, ya no sé nada más. Me desmayé y no es que me dieron, ella dice que me estaban patoteando allá. porque ella vio todo. Hasta el chairman lo vio porque el chairman y ese barcito llegó a comprar. Ese sí estaba yo todavía, que vamos a quitar los fierros, todo. Pero como él va a comprar, pues nos quedamos allá que todavía. Fue cuando, ¡bam!, de repente, como esa cosa como que relámpago. Ya, yo soy el primero que caí. Y me empezaron a dar según mi esposa. Y después a mi yerno.
Cuando usted se levantó, ¿qué es lo que usted vio?
Pues yo solo me levantaron porque yo estoy botado, ¿verdad? Y quedé sentado así. Y veo a mi hija, esta una acá, a Cindy, veo a Laisha enfrente, porque esos quieren dar a uno. Y mi primo me tiene aguantado de atrás también así. Bueno, parado acá hacia atrás así. Y ya hago así, veo a mi yerno botado también allá. Solo porque mi hija Laisha se metía.
Jonathan Franco is admitted at the Northern Regional Hospital with a cut wound below the left knee. No one has been detained in this incident. Coming up next, female attacked in Orange Walk early Sunday morning. Stay tuned.
Vacancy. Centaur Communications is a regional provider of internet and cable services. We offer a unique opportunity to join a growing and innovating company in the telecommunication industry. At Centaur, we believe the work you do should be as empowering as the services we provide and deliver to our customers. Therefore, interested applicants from Corozal Town and Ladyville wanting to join our team as a cable technician for the Corozal branch and Ladyville branch, respectively, must possess, in addition to a high school diploma, the following qualifications: ability to handle basic installation tools, including a 30-feet ladder, ability to test, troubleshoot, and document test results, ability to understand, adhere to, and promote the company's health and safety policies, ability to install, terminate, and test coax cables and twisted pair cable, must have a valid driver's license, and be able to travel, must be willing to work flexible hours, possess excellent customer service skills, understanding basic computer networking will be an asset. Interested applicants may submit a letter of application along with their resume, 2 letters of reference, and a police record no later than Friday, November 11, 2022 to Human Resources Manager, Centaur Communications Corporation Limited, 61 Queen Victoria Avenue, Orange Walk Town. Reference, Corozal Branch.
LG dual inverter compressor cools air faster by operating at speeds as high as 120 Hz with more stability compared to conventional models. It also saves up to 70% more energy by operating at speeds as low as 10 Hz with more stability. It reduces torque vibration down to 40% for quiet outdoor unit operation. Stable operation with low vibrations also results in increased durability.
Everyone, including our elderly, needs to stay connected with their loved ones. With Smart's Golden Citizen broadband program, senior citizens can sign up for 10 megabytes of unlimited internet at a low monthly cost of $25. Citizens over 65 can sign up with a valid ID and receive free installation plus 1 month free on selected broadband plans. Visit a Smart showroom near you for more information on how you can enjoy Smart's Golden Citizen broadband program. Smart, bringing people together.
A 33-year-old Belizean laborer of Belize City has been charged by Orange Walk police for resisting arrest and 2 counts of assaulting a police officer. He was arraigned in court today, pleaded not guilty, and was remanded to prison. The individual ended up with the charges after he was arrested early Sunday morning. Reports indicate that yesterday, Orange Walk police were patrolling Aurora Street when their attention was drawn to a black SUV whose horn was blowing. The patrol team went to investigate, and when they got closer, they heard a woman screaming. They looked inside the vehicle and observed a man on top of a semi-nude woman. He was punching her as she screamed for assistance. While the police officers tried to get in the vehicle, its doors were locked. When authorities managed to gain access to the inside of the vehicle, the attacker tried to escape. He was detained, yet no charges could be levied upon the individual for attacking the female, since she has refused to provide cops with a statement. Tropical storm, potentially Hurricane Lisa, will become the 4th November storm to make landfall on Belize in its history of encounters with tropical cyclones. As we monitor the track and behavior of Tropical Storm Lisa, we cannot forget that exactly 61 years ago on this date, Hurricane Hattie made landfall in Belize and devastated the country. Not only did Hattie cause over 300 deaths, but it destroyed many homes, schools, business houses, and even churches were not spared from Hattie's path of destruction. In the aftermath of Hurricane Hattie, thousands of Belizeans were left homeless. Hurricane Hattie landed just south of Belize City with a central pressure of 920 and sustained winds of 155 miles per hour, with gusts of 200 miles per hour. Today, October 31st, marks the 61st anniversary of the landfall of Hurricane Hattie. But according to Chief Meteorologist Ronald Gordon, informed a press briefing this morning that according to his research, there have previously been 3 other storms to hit Belize in November.
You have things like trees that will definitely, you know, the branches will break, trees will be uprooted, power systems will be damaged, you know, where you won't have electricity for some time, so that will affect water, because water runs with electricity. Sewage system will have issues, you know, falling debris could hurt people and things like that. So storm surge, you know, I won't speak to much of the characteristics, but storm surge, wind are some of the critical, and rainfall.
In regards to storm surge, it's a very peculiar thing. Storm surge isn't correlated quite well with the maximum winds. The storm surge is more related to how large the system is. So you can have weak systems, but if they have a large radius of maximum wind, as I said before, then you can have a bigger storm surge. So putting that in context, given that we are expecting the system to be rather compact, we do not expect the storm surge to be very, very huge. However, I did mention 3 to 5 feet. That is what we are seeing from the models that we're running at the moment. And so we want folks to be prepared for that type of storm surge from the system.
As the tropical storm Lisa approaches, officials will be cracking down on price gouging. In the past months, Belizean consumers have been seeing the price of goods rise continuously. Back in November, Prime Minister Bersenio attributed the rising prices to increases in the cost of shipping, as well as to increased demands for certain items during the pandemic. Of late, however, there have been instances of drastic price hikes that seem to indicate price gouging by some local stores. Under threat of a natural disaster, price gouging always rears its ugly head here in Belize. And with that in mind, today the Belize Bureau of Standards, BBS, issued a warning for Belizeans to be vigilant, as some businesses may begin price gouging due to the incoming tropical storm Lisa.
Well, as the press release mentioned, we want to encourage consumers to remain vigilant. There are certain items that are price regulated and price controlled, and those are the specific commodities with which the ministry can act. The Bureau assists the ministry in this endeavor to protect consumers because the Bureau does not have the jurisdiction when it comes to price control goods. That will be the supplies control unit. But we liaise with the supplies control unit so that if the Bureau receives any complaints, then we work in tandem with the supplies control units to try to address the issue. So as it is, we know that the supplies control unit, normally in these times, they would have feet on the ground performing surveillance, market surveillance, and the Bureau tries to assist as much as possible in this initiative as well. No? So if the Bureau comes across any commodity which is overpriced, then we report it to the Supplies Control Unit, and because they have jurisdiction and they have the strength of the law behind them, then they can take the appropriate measures, because the Bureau does not have that strength of the law behind them to do such. So, well, there's a list of commodities listed by law which cannot be raised beyond a certain price, no? So, in terms of controlling it, the only way is for market surveillance. But again, the Bureau or the Supplies Control Unit cannot be in our places at all times. So we rely a lot on consumers to be aware of what the price should be. Even if it's suspect, for them to report it, perhaps call the Bureau to know what the price should be of specific commodities like sugar and rice, bread, to contact the Supplies Control Unit, even if they're suspicious that perhaps they've overpaid, to get in contact, get their receipts, because again, they would need proof that the purchase was made, that the item is overpriced, so that the follow-up actions can be made against those vendors who choose to take advantage of these situations like these, no?
And while price gouging is a common practice for unscrupulous businesses during and after a natural disaster, Minister of Sustainable Development Orlando Habet advised business owners to desist from increasing the prices of basic commodities.
We certainly implore these businesses to really not do that, because it affects largely the poor people who really can't afford it. And so there are certain items that we know are controlled, so you can't increase the prices on those. But there are other items that will be absolutely necessary for these people to take to their shelters or to move from one place to the other. Or even if you want to stay at home and you start to stock up on water and some food, then sometimes this issue with price gouging occurs. And certainly, I can say for sure that the government of Belize discourages this type of activity.
Consumers are reminded of the importance of saving receipts as proof of purchase, which can serve as a basis to formally report any contraventions encountered in the marketplace. The Bureau also warned businesses that if it is an offense to sell price control goods above the maximum permissible price ceiling, and said that it could be working with relevant authorities to ensure that consumers are protected during this time. And that's the news. We invite you to join us for another newscast on Tuesday, November 1st, here on Ctv3 and Fiesta FM 106.7. Remember that to read a text version of the news, you can visit our website at ctv3belizenews.com. You can also log on to our Facebook page for current stories at facebook.com/ctv3belizenews or our YouTube channel at Ctv3 News BZ. Remember to wash your hands and remain safe. From all of us here at Ctv3 News, thank you for watching and listening. Good night.